Hello, are you ready to start our craft today? We are doing a craft on numbers. What number can you see? It is number 1. And what is the craft for today? It is a number 1 craft activity on a unicorn. Join me if you have the craft in front of you. If you would like to join us and you don't have the craft activity, you can download it from the Artica website. Let's start. Now I have gone ahead, like I always do, and I have cut most of my craft puzzle. So you start by cutting the different pieces from the craft sheets. I have just one left to do, which is my number 1. So I'm going to take my scissors very responsibly and I'm going to cut around my number 1. Cutting carefully around the edges and making sure my fingers are not close to the scissor as it comes around. And here is my number 1. I'm going to keep my piece of paper close to me so I can see what comes next. So step 2 is to glue all the pieces together. So I'm going to take all my excess paper and put it on a side, and I'm going to push all the other little pieces of my craft to a side, and I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm first going to stick my number 1. So rubbing the glue all around the edges, and I'm going to stick it a little bit lower so I have plenty of space to put my unicorn cap. Now the next step is, I hope you're comfortable. I'm getting comfortable in my seat. The next step is to stick my unicorn hat, which looks like a tall triangle. So again, rubbing my glue all around the edges and sticking it right on top. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the 2 ears. So I'm going to find my 2 ears and I'm going to stick them on either side of my unicorn. Okay, so again, applying some glue just in the middle and sticking my 2 ears. Now the next thing I'm going to do, according to my little craft picture, is the 3 little flowers. Now the 3 little flowers are overlapping on each other, so we have to do one flower with the little circle, then the other flower with the little circle, and then the last flower. So we're going to do the 2 on the side, and then with the final one in the middle. Okay, so my first flower on one side, and my second flower on the other side. Now before I go on to glue my third flower, I'm going to find the little circles that go in the center of my two flowers, and I'm going to stick that in the center of one, and oops, I stuck the wrong circle. Take it out, and again, some of these craft puzzles can be a little bit tricky, so I sometimes get some grown-up help, and you can do too. So my second flower, circle goes in the center of my other flower, and my final flower is in the center. And the little circle. Now, if you have found that your three flowers aren't overlapping, that's okay. Our picture on each of the crafts are just a guide for you to follow. So if you would like to do your own and stick your flowers on the unicorn's body or anywhere else on the hat, that's okay too. It's all about us having fun and doing the activity together. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the unicorn's eye. Now we have two circles for that. We've got a big circle and we have a little circle. So we're going to first glue the big circle just below the flowers, and then we're going to do the next one in the center of the big circle. And the next step is we're going to stick the unicorn's nose. So and I'm just going to rub my glue on the side so I make sure it sticks properly. Oops, I've actually made a mistake. I stuck my nose the wrong way, so I'm going to change that now. Silly me. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to stick the tail. Now if you have your tail, apply some glue very carefully, and again you can stick it behind the one, or you can stick it on the one or on the side of the one. And then we have the little drop. It looks like a little teardrop that goes on the top of his tail. Just going to move my scissors to the side because it's getting in my way, and we have to be careful when we have sharp scissors close to us. And the last thing that we need to stick is our little eyelash. And there it goes. I have finished my step 2, which is gluing all my craft pieces together. Now I'm going to show you mine. That's what mine looks like. But I followed the craft picture. Like I said before, you don't have to follow this. You can use your own imagination and think about how you would like your beautiful unicorn to look, and stick the pieces according to that. Now we have the fun part, which is coloring or painting or crafting our number one unicorn. Now I have some coloring pencils here. Oops. And I have some paint. And I can see that some of the little craft pieces are very finicky. So I'm going to start off with coloring those little pieces of my craft. So I'm going to use the red coloring pencil to color one of my 3 flowers. And you can do the same, but if you're confident with paint, you can just go ahead and paint your flower. And I'm just going to go around it, and I'm going to use the yellow inside. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find a dark green coloring pencil, and I'm going to color in my second little flower. And sometimes what I find easier is to first outline the flower, so it makes it easier for us to work out the lines when we're coloring. And I'm going to find my yellow again, and I'm going to color in the center. And my last color for my flower is the color purple. So I'm going to take my purple coloring pencil, and I'm going to again draw the outside of my flower very carefully. And again, if we don't follow the lines and we go out of the lines, that's okay. It's all about us having fun while we do our craft. And just finding my yellow again to finish off the center of my 3 flowers. I'm going to show you what my 3 flowers look like. And the next thing I think I'm going to use my coloring pencils is for the unicorn's little eyelash, because I think that I'm going to find it a little bit challenging to paint that part of my craft. So I'm just going to use a bit of my black coloring pencil to do that. And the center of his eye. Again, I have actually gone around and outside my line, but I'm not going to worry about it because I love doing my craft, and I'm not worried if I do a few mistakes while I'm having fun. Now, that's all I'm going to use of my coloring pencils, so I'm going to put those aside, and I'm going to bring my paints close by now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the color purple to paint my nose and the top of the tail. That looks like a teardrop. And I'm going to take not a very thin brush, but a medium brush for the nose. I'm just going to go, first I'm going to go around and I'm going to line my nose so I know where my edges are, and then I'm just going to fill in the gaps. And run your brush a few times to even out the paint. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the top of my craft tail. And I'm going to dip again. Again, I'm just going to try and use the tip of my paintbrush so it's easier to guide my tail top. So very carefully to the top and taking the tip of my brush to the bottom, and now filling in the center very carefully. Now again, like I always say, if we make a little bit of mistake, that's okay. We're here to have fun. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my yellow paint. I'm going to do the top of my unicorn's hat. I think my unicorn is going to a party and it's got a party hat. So wash my brush nicely again and then just damp it on the side of my water glass, and then I'm just going to dip my paintbrush in my yellow and then run it first to the top of my hat, the tip, and then bring it down again and again to the side, close to my flowers, and up again. And again, remember what I said, it's okay if we go out of the edges as long as we're having fun. And I am having lots of fun doing this with you. I hope you are having lots of fun as well. And the final thing that we have to do is our unicorn's ears and his body. Now, my picture is showing my unicorn is a grey, but I don't want my unicorn to be grey because I think grey is a dull color, and I think my unicorn is going to a party, so I would like it to have a more brighter color. So I'm going to use my pink for my unicorn's body, and I'm just going to make it a little bit lighter. Oops, I nearly put that in the water, by adding some white to make the color light pink. Okay, and I'm just going to mix that together very carefully in my paint palette, just like that. And I'm just going to finish off my unicorn's body. And again, around the edges first, so we create our boundaries for our unicorn. We just have to go around the top, which is a little bit tricky, but again, I'm not worried if I go out of the edges of my craft because this is me having fun. And now just going to dip my paintbrush to get a little bit more moist, and I'm going to use my paintbrush up and down to finish off my number one, which is also my unicorn's body. Again, we can just use our paintbrush if we have gone off the edges, just to smooth it all out. Now, just very carefully, I'm going to use the same pink to paint my unicorn's tail. And the final thing that I have to do is finish off the 2 ears. So 1 ear just on top, just taking it very carefully around my flowers. And my 2nd ear that goes around my 2nd ear. And again, I'm just being very careful not to go over my beautiful flowers that I colored in before. And I have finished painting my unicorn. It looks like this. I think my unicorn is going to be very excited to go to its party today, dressed in pink with a yellow hat and some beautiful flowers on top. I have enjoyed doing this craft with you today. I hope you have. And if you'd like to see more of our crafts, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for listening.